Hey there, everybody. This is Randy Dalton coming to you from the R&B channel. How is everybody doing today? Today is a really exciting time. This is the fun part of my job. We get to predict what 2026 what 2026 is going to look like. Some would say that's a good guess at what's going to happen. But with 4 decades of experience as a real estate investor, almost 2 decades of experience as a property manager, I got a few thoughts to share. So if you're thinking about buying, if you're thinking about selling, give a listen. All right, well, let's get started. So today we are talking about the outlook for 2026. What should we be expecting? This is specifically with regards to looking at the market as a real estate investor. And before we talk about what's to be expected in 2026, I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking first about what happened in 2025. I know ourselves, specifically, we had a few clients that tried to sell and they were successful. They actually were able to sell their property. I myself actually decided to sell one of our single family homes. I've done videos in the past about that, and you just can't make money in a single family home these days. And these properties just can't be converted. If they can be converted, it's very complicated and very difficult and very expensive. So we decided to put two up for sale. We only wanted to sell one, and as it turned out, the one that ended up selling, we actually had an offer on that one in the spring of 2024. The offer was, if I remember correctly, it was for 617,000. We ended up selling it in spring of 2025. A year later, we sold it for 535. Almost an $80,000 loss in 12 months, right? 15% in 12 months. Kicking myself in the butt for not proceeding with that offer that we had in 2024, but it is what it is, right? Those things sometimes happen, and often good to leave a little bit of money on the table for the next person. Well, that's a little bit about what happened in 2024, 2025, as far as the real estate market is concerned. Where do we expect things to go in 2026? My prediction, I don't think things are going to continue to fall like they did. I'm not expecting them to go up, that's for sure. My prediction is kind of a, sideways movement as far as real estate is concerned. So what you were looking at a year ago, you're probably looking at that same kind of price today. I know realtor was an associate of mine for a while. He did a video and he spoke about, the market back in 2019, 2020, kind of pre-COVID. And we know what happened in COVID, right? Prices kind of went crazy. They went ridiculously crazy. They weren't sustainable. Of course, they were going to come back down again. But since that time, since about 2019, 2020, the market has been pretty flat. Like it's just been going sideways. It's not going up. It's not going down. It's just sideways. So what you're looking at in terms of real estate values today, comparable in terms of real estate values 6, 7 years ago, basically, right? So there really hasn't been any change in the real estate market. What do we think is going to happen? Again, I said I think it's going to continue to be moving sideways, not up or down. And there's a couple of things that are happening. We have to factor in interest rates. Interest rates went up. They've come down a little bit. When we look at what happened just a few weeks ago with Bank of Canada, they went sideways with their interest rate. They didn't push an increase. They didn't provide a drop in interest rate. Basically, things are going sideways. I think they are kind of hedging their bets a little bit, like hoping economy is going to get better, and having the ability to change interest rates, but also understanding that the economy could actually start to worsen and requiring a drop in interest rates. I think the economists are also predicting for 2026, as far as GDP, it's pretty flat. I think we're looking less than 1%, which doesn't mean things are going to go well as far as the real estate market is concerned. Remember, a very wise financial advisor told me, this goes back almost 20 years, told me that, the real estate market, we all talk about affordability, but the real estate market is affordable. It's what people can afford. People don't look at the purchase price. When homeowners are looking to buy a property, they look at their interest rates, they look at their income, and they figure out how much can we afford on a monthly basis. And then they buy based on that. They buy what value of mortgage can I get for that expense as a mortgage payment, and they buy based on that. They don't buy based on what the market's doing. They couldn't care less. They buy on affordability. I really think with the economy probably going sideways this year, with interest rates and the probably going sideways this year, that the real estate market is going to go sideways this year. What does that mean for investors? Well, it's actually a good thing, right? Because we're not in a hot market. We're not in a seller's market. We're in a buyer's market, to some degree, right? And it really puts us in a place where we can take our time and really work through the numbers and make an offer on those properties that we feel are good purchases. Takes all of the emotion out, takes all of the urgency out, allows us to take our time with regards to that. So, honestly, with regards to the market in 2026, I think it's very good for a real estate investor in what's going to happen in 2026. Now, part of what we worry about is the real estate value. Another part of what we worry about is the rental market. What's going on with the rental market? So let's talk a little bit about that. I've seen a lot of different indications up and down in terms of the rental market. I've really been monitoring this as a property manager. We monitor it very closely. 2025 was really a difficult year for the rental market. And it was one of the reasons that I was really holding off in terms of making any purchasing decisions in 2025 because of where the rental market is right now. Um, Rents are down, definitely, depending on who you talk to. Rents are down anywhere from 10% to 30%. Big impact on that is the market that you're in, and it's also the product that you have. Condos down drastically in comparison to other potential opportunities, right? So, where is the rental market going? It certainly, I hate to say it, I've seen a lot of ups, I've seen a lot of downs in terms of the rental market, like pluses and minuses, goods and bads. Right now, we are certainly finding it, 2025, we struggled in terms of getting places rented. In 2026, the beginning of 2026, it's been a little better. We've been a little bit more successful in terms of getting units rented. We've also seen, and I did a video on this last year, that potentially short term, mid-term market can be an indication of what's happening in the long term. And for us, we are seeing a bit of an increase in terms of our short term rental needs and also our midterm rental needs. So that's kind of giving us a positive, the rental market's going to get better in 2026. My worry though is the economy. Mark Carney talking about we're going to have a lot of pain, short-term pain. The long term looks very good for Canada, but the short term, there's going to be a lot of pain for a lot of individuals. And I think that is going to make it very difficult for the rental market to really be able to see some significant improvement. Much like real estate market, I think it's going sideways. Same thing with the rental market. I think it's going sideways. Okay. Now, with all of that said, where does that put us at the end of the day? Do we buy? Do we sell? I am going to speak the words of a very famous man. Many of you know him, Don Campbell. He started up and was the president of Rain Canada, Rain being Real Estate Investment Network. And he was on stage regularly preaching to all of us. It doesn't matter if the market's going up. It doesn't matter if the market's going down. It doesn't matter if the market's going sideways. Buy cash flow. If you can find a property that's generating positive cash flow, buy it, buy it, buy it, buy it. It's a no-brainer, right? Now, with that said, and remember where the real estate market is going, it really gives us an opportunity to take our time and find those gems that are going to generate positive cash flow for us. Understand that the rental market is also going sideways, and therefore don't put into your analysis predictions that, okay, well, this guy's just out to lunch in terms of his rents. He's just off the scale as far as what the market can pay, right? And you make a decision based on unrealistic higher rents than what's actually being generated on the property today, right? So be very careful of that. Make sure that you don't fall into that. The rental market is going sideways right now, for sure. But if you can find a property that is generating positive cash flow, it's absolutely something that you should consider buying. Now, final words of wisdom. I just want to say that myself personally, it's always important to understand, I'm talking about what to do here, where I think things are going in 2026. It's always important to understand where I'm coming from, what I'm doing. And I will tell you that we are right now considering a purchase of a small apartment building. So, with everything that I said, right, I'm taking my time. I've been looking at this particular opportunity for quite a while, and I'm going to continue to take my time and deciding whether or not I want to proceed with this particular venture. And I'm being very careful and realistic in terms of rents and expenses, determining what that net operating income is going to be and what the value of the property is going to be. It's a lot to digest, and I wish you all the best of success in 2026. For those of you who decide to make that decision and jump into the market or make another purchase, I hope it all works out for you. And if we can help you in any way, please reach out to me. All right. I think that's all for now. Till next time. Bye for now.